Welcome to another edition of Rita's Video Blog. I am Rita. Today I'm doing this video in my best friend Aaron's house. So, let me see if I can raise this just a little more. I can. Okay, so, some of you out there, you're wondering what this video is about. This is a short story time. Aaron's in the corner texting, so if he wants to get involved, please feel free to. So, here's the story, and it's a short discrimination story. As you all know, I went to Nebraska for my boobs. Now, several times ago, about 3 weeks ago, we contacted a company who did my breasts. They did a physician network, and they sent me a survey asking how the doctor was, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I got it, and the survey said Mr. throughout the survey letter. It irritated me. So, story time is this. We contacted them, we talked to them, the lady looked it over, and she said it was purposeful that they went out of their way to change it to Mr. But when she went into the file, it was all female. So,
all your paperwork has you as a female.
All my paperwork says female. Now here's the thing. The lady basically knew that there was only a couple options. She was going to look into it and get back to us. And I told them back then, so did Aaron because we were on speakerphone, that we were going to do no survey until it's fixed. Well, today they sent me saying I didn't send in the survey. They want me to send it in. Blah, blah, blah. Mister. Monday morning, we will be calling up and complaining yet again to the director, which we have her phone number. I pulled it up off my phone under the, because I never delete any of my phone records or phone call logs. And I'm calling up the lady that was sincere and being almost in tears, being like, oh my God, it was purposeful that they actually did this to me. So, anyways, for some of you out there knowing...
Even though you had a guy who said just suck it up and deal with it.
Yes, exactly. I had one guy that said suck it up and deal with it, was the assistant to the anesthesia department.
No, it was that guy, James or whatever.
Oh, yes. There's a guy on YouTube that basically told me to suck it up, basically, and I got free breast implants by his tax dollar.
Just enjoy it and be happy.
Problem is the James guy doesn't know James Time, I believe. Doesn't realize that the state, the federal government now has to recognize transgender people, and that means they have to recognize transgender-related surgeries, like breast implants. So... Anyway,
you shouldn't have to be discriminated against, even if you're...
Yeah, even if I'm discriminated against, I'm fighting this because I'm not a Mr. Secondly, Mr. James Time also does not want to realize that his government, his tax dollars, let's just say it this way, his tax dollars is funding for it after the government implemented it into the Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare, which is 50,000 pages, and Section 1557 explains transgender-related surgeries must be covered. Therefore, sorry sir, but unless you contact your local state senators and Congress to complain in the state you're from, as well as your federal Congress and Senate, they're not going to listen. I've looked into it. I've talked to state senators and Congress that's told me it's implemented as long as Medicaid is receiving federal funds. You're not going to get your way. It's part of the Affordable Care Act. Second, because the HHS decided to basically put in transgender-related health care, it's getting better and better with transgendered patients and people. Therefore, you can't discriminate. Now, if you want to be a dillhole and discriminate on my channel, so be it. I've just got the little box that can basically click the X and say, deal with it. Now, in the past, and I will be honest here, I was bitter because my elderly adopted grandparents are getting less and less services in their 80s and 90s because they've been told, oh, well, we're covering sex changes, but sorry, Grandma, we can't take care of you. It kind of irritated me, but Granny told me, well, take advantage of it, get it done. She's 93. She said, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Well, I agree, but it did irritate me. That's why I looked into it with my senators in Congress, saying, hey, can we have a happy medium because I don't want to see the elderly crapped on.
Well,
because
like our friend Kathleen, who can't get 2 heart valves replaced. Instead, they want to do all this other stuff, and they just don't want her to have her heart valves replaced, and they should be replaced.
Exactly. I mean,
it's like she has to have a heart attack before they'll replace them.
Exactly. So it kind of irritated me, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. The problem is I'm upset at the fact that I was called Mr. Now, I'm not a Mr. Wherever I go, it's Miss and Ma'am and Miss and Ma'am and etc. So technically, it kind of irritates the piss out of me that I got to see this. The other day, I saw someone basically attacked a woman who's transgender, and was saying, yay, the VA's considering transgendered health care to help them. Problem is, I know someone supposedly that joined the Air Force at 13 and has fought the VA to get their surgeries now because they're transgender. But they're doing it for other reasons. But we won't go there. Problem is, they didn't join 13. They're lying through their teeth. Now, my father would be furious because he served Korea and Vietnam, but my old man would also say, hey, it's a new world we live in, deal with it. But
this guy at 28 says that he's been in the military for 15 years.
Well,
how else could he be in the military for 15 years if he's 28? Did he pay attention to the age? It's obvious that he didn't.
So, anyways,
he claims to also be getting VA while getting Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security Disability
and SSI
and welfare
and the railroad pension.
And then he says that he makes more than most people make.
Well, that's a bunch of BS.
As a writer.
However, here's the deal before I sign off, is that this veteran, I went to their wall after they added me as a friend on Facebook. I went through their posts, and I saw one where this person was using freedom of speech basically to say, hey, you're a veteran, you served your country, you signed up for it if you gave your life. Oh, well, if you survived it, great for you, but why should we be paying a $10,000 surgery? The problem is a gender-confirming surgery for just lower surgery is about $120,000 with hospital expenses. See, when a doctor tells you, oh, we can give you a vagioplasty for $60,000, they're not including the extra pay for Part A if you're on Medicare for the hospital visit. They're charging Part B. Now, as I said in this video, in the previous videos on being called Mr., these breast implants I got an email that says out the door it was $8,500. Come to, when I got the statement, it was $25,991.56. That's a number I'm not making up. It's in my head. It's ingrained. So if Medicare doesn't pay, I got to go and fight it with an appeal. So I get 5 appeals. But right now, Medicare's got to look at every case and be like, cover or not covered. Female to males are getting everything covered. They're getting their breasts removed at about $30,000. They're getting their hysterectomy removed, which is about $40,000. They're getting their penectomy and everything else to build a fallow. So all in total, for them, it's between $500,000 and $750,000. So $500,000 to $750,000. Male to females, as I've said in previous videos, facial surgery is not covered because it is a cosmetic procedure and Medicare doesn't want to do it. Now, a lot of people, like others, are saying, well, you've chosen to change your sex at an older part of your life. Why should we be paying $300,000 to $500,000? Apparently, rumors going around, and this is just a rumor, that the woman who bought Medicare and got the rule changed to include transgender-related surgeries, or at least gender surgery down below, basically 34 years later, they reverse it, saying it's not scientific measures, but it is, medically necessary because it saves lives. However, problem is Medicare is still not paying. They just they lifted the ban and said, okay. But now you got that, and it's not good. Plus the fact that the clinic we went through to get the breasts, when we were on the phone, they said there's 3 transgender kids between 5 and 15 coming out every week in Lincoln, Nebraska.
2 to 3.
I said 3.
Month.
3 per month.
Yep.
And, anyways, actually they said it was 3 a week, remember?
No, it was per month.
Anyways,
it was 2 to
New York is about 3,000 to 4,000 year.
Yeah, you're right. It was weak.
It was about 3 a week. So that's 12, 3, 6, 9, 12 a month. Now picture this. In about 10 years, there's going to be double to triple the transgendered population, and we still don't have enough doctors. Some doctors are trying to train in Kentucky, which is good, but the government's paying them very little, so when they do get done, they might start their own family practice or personal practice and not go with the others. Universities are taking federal money, but at the same time, some of the universities are saying no. Like, there's a couple out there that are denying people right now because Medicare hasn't paid. Like, one university was 92 surgeries between phallos and vagioplasties, and another one it was like 52. So,
well, here's another thing too: is that, for instance, like that $26,000 bill, if it is covered, it's likely they'll only get $1,000 for it and be told they can't bill the patient more than $100.
Well, I heard a woman recently, I don't know what state she's from, she just had, and I'm just going to go off a rough estimate because I can't remember the entire amount, but she had an orchiectomy, which was in a general setting, and it was approximately $12,000. She only had to pay $647 after they paid. Problem is again, it is just basically people being rude and crude, saying if you want it, get it done yourself. Well, the insurance companies are waiting to see how Medicare handles all this, so MetLife and all these Part C Advantage plans for Medicare will cover. Same with others like Athena and others. So in the meantime, they're waiting to see what happens, but at the same time, you got other groups out there basically ramming it down, like the woman who, rumor has it, as I was going in circles, decided to go and challenge Medicare on vagioplasty. Now she wants facial feminization and breast augmentation, and Medicare's like, you're 75, we can't cover that for you, we can't make you look like you're 12 again, and they're demanding it, so they're fighting it yet again, supposedly. However, 7 to 8 clinics in America are paying for breast augmentation. There's a couple doctors out there that won't. The two I told you about that have 92 outstanding Medicare bills because Medicare didn't pay, and they're in the appeal process, and 52. They say breast augmentation is cosmetic and only cosmetic.
You made me think of something hilarious. That lady who managed to get Medicare to change it, I saw an interview with her, and she said that she knew she was transgender when she was like 14, and she was looking at another girl in class and wanted to be her. And to this day, she said she still wants to be that girl. And the thing is, she wants to have facial work and all that to look like this girl who's back when she was 14. It's like, come on, you're nearly 80. You're not going to look 14. But she dresses like a 14-year-old. She tries to act like a 14-year-old.
52 years ago, she was 14. And you see, so in my opinion, for you out there, Mr. Time, if you're watching this, some transgendered people are genuine transgendered people, and others are doing it for the wrong reason, like this author. Problem is, we can't just sit there and say, oh, everyone's transgendered, so they got to go through the proper Medicare procedures. Rumor has it they want to put in how long you've been on hormones to how long you can have surgery, or breast implants, then surgery. They're trying to put in a time dates, so you can't just do like, go in and say, oh, well, 2 years later you're post-operative. They're trying to cut that down so the money extends. Now, in 10 years, they figured it would bankrupt the country. From the reports I've seen by senators in Congress in both state of Washington and in federal Congress and Senate, that said if they just let the same course go out after and they paid everyone's surgery at $750,000 a person, that would equivalent 10 years, $35 trillion, which, ding, 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 there's a little problem there, which is it bankrupts the country. So they're trying to find a way to slow it down, and the best way is they're making everyone appeal.
The best way would actually be if they upheld the what's that called now? The W path. That used to be the Harry Benjamin Sanders.
Exactly.
If they upheld that. Unfortunately, too many psychiatrists and mental health professionals will rubber stamp a person who comes in and says, I feel like a girl. And so all of a sudden they start the process. We've seen too often on transgendered sites where somebody's like, I just came out last week and I want my surgeries by end of month. And we're seeing some of them even get their surgeries by end of month because psychiatrists and therapists are essentially just taking their money, rubber stamping them, giving them hormones, and saying, well, off you go for your surgeries. And that's not right.
And the other thing is, as my therapist said, working with me and my psychiatrist, which they're 100% backing me. They said they're not, when they see a transgender person, they're sending them off to Seattle because they don't want to deal with them, because Seattle's got some more, what do you call it, scales and stuff to determine if they're transgender. Because, hold on, you're not letting me finish, sweetheart. Because, if you listen, a lot of them are gay, and they're coming out as gay men, and they want a sex change. And they ask why.
We know too many that are like that, too. Also, around here, we have a 15-year-old that's transgender that we happen to know of. She wanted her surgery at the beginning of the summertime, and the therapist was essentially trying to get, their therapist was trying to get information from Rita on how to go about getting her surgeries at 15 years old. Because this girl apparently wants to be able to go to prom and have sex this year. She's 15. She shouldn't be going to prom for another 3 years.
Well, there is that, freshman prom, junior prom, you know.
And you know, that's a guy thing to think that they're going to get sex on prom night. And it happens too frequently, yes, but actually the real statistics are less than 15% or whatever who take a girl to prom get laid from the prom.
Exactly, but
so it's not likely to happen.
And my therapist is now looking to me and my psychiatrist for guidance all the time. I'm always answering emails Monday through Friday for my psychiatrist, and Monday through Thursday for my therapist. I got my primary care physician. I got a general surgeon, I got a hormone doctor. They're all asking me for advice, and I'm doing the best I can, and, you know...
We're more knowledgeable than most.
Yeah, exactly, and the thing is a lot of these girls are saying, well, gay people can have sex changes because it's right in Canada. Well, Canada might be different, but my therapist isn't taking any chance signing his name off for surgery when it could be denied. And this isn't a discrimination
thing. Look at your old therapist in Australia. She was getting sued by too many people, and some of them in a lawsuit. Yeah. Their records are all sealed still.
Some of them were 20 years post-operative, and they said they should have just lived as a male or female.
And so they were attempting to sue their therapist for having psychiatrist for having even given them recommendations and referrals. Wait, hold on. This is what you wanted. The psychiatrist was just doing what you told them you wanted. And that's where she made a mistake, because she didn't follow the WPAC.
No, it was the Harry Benjamin standards. When I was
exactly.
Let me put it to you this way.
I'm just going off of it because it gets too confusing.
When I was transitioning, right, I almost went to Thailand for lower surgery. And I was so excited that...
It's because you didn't necessarily need referrals at that time from the Thai
You did, but here's the thing. A medical doctor would have given it. The problem is under the Harry Benjamin standards of care, they would have accepted it. Problem with the Thailand doctors at the time, my psychiatrist and my hormone doctor there in Australia said, you're not ready. And because I was having some problems and I had to return home to America here, they said, work on it over there. Well, my transgendered wife for 4 years committed suicide, and then the files were locked, and then I almost committed suicide. Aaron came into the picture and saved me. We've been together 11 years. Let me just tell you.
They were locked until more recently when you found out she died.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was when you wanted your records from.
Exactly. So then, you know, with all my medical records from when I came back home, I had one doctor that had those records. Those records were sent to me, and I sent them to my therapist, and he sent them to the psychiatrist. They looked at me and said, you've been transitioning this long, hon, and you've done it, and you've never given up, here you go. So technically, when someone sits there and says, sir or mister, it makes me angry because you're transgendered, you're living your life the way you are, and you're comfortable. You shouldn't be discriminated against, yet a lot of times these clinics...
You're not one of these people that's sitting there... Sorry, I know I'm too far away. You're not one of these people who say that it's discrimination because somebody won't date you. You're not doing it to be dated. You're not doing it to have sex. You're doing it to feel yourself.
Exactly.
You're not interested in finding a relationship. You got a friend who's really close to you, and so that's all that really matters. It's
Well,
like being in a relationship, but
exactly. But you know, I mean, I've had doctors when I got these breast implants, and it was like a discrimination pervo thing to do. Ask me if I lay in bed and masturbate with my penis and rubbing these. I don't. 17 years, I'm dead. I can't get it up. So no. A lot of people that are still, you know, can get it up. They basically sit there and they rub, you know, as the general surgeon was saying, it's like, no, that's not me. So technically you do have some stereotypical thoughts from doctors of etc., which is the perversion set. But the thing is, that is a semi-discrimination thing too. So you got to be very careful when it comes to discrimination. I mean, Monday morning, we're calling up, I got 3 phone calls to make and more business emails to handle, and I'm going to be taking a break Wednesday evening to Friday afternoon. I'm not doing any of those business emails. Even if my phone gets email, I'm not going to answer them. So if you think I'm angry or upset, I'm upset that people are discriminating against transgendered people and saying, oh, sir, I mean, you don't have to look like a young woman at 18 or 20 that's transitioned and complete and looks genetic. The problem is a lot of people in this day and age discriminate thinking that's the way you should do it. If you can't look that good, then give it up. Problem is that's the bad attitude of the people. And other things is I saw a transgendered person the other day who was giving me dirty looks when I was having a good old laughing time with Aaron at Safeway, and then when they were going out, they were just, you know, very bitter, you know, and, you know, even the checkers, like, is that everything, sir? They were dressing female and everything, and I wanted to go over there and yell at the guy who was running it through. But instead, they're like, oh, no, it's miss, I'm transgendered. But they also, when I overheard them, they said, just make sure you use the male bathroom. You don't pass that well. Me, I've been discriminated where I've gone into the bathroom, sat down like a woman that I am, like every other girl, toilet paper in one hand, hand in the middle, and there's those little cracks, you know, in between the stalls, you know.
Yeah, you see somebody pressing their eye again.
Yeah, wondering what gender you are.
It's
and
like
then
they want to find an excuse to run out shouting, man.
And I've had that a few times where I've gone into the wheelchair accessible bathroom every time I need to use the little girls' room after going to the dollar store. I go and buy cheese balls and other munchies and paper and stuff, so I can use the wheelchair, well, it's a main bathroom with 3 stalls, but the wheelchair accessible bathroom is about the size of Aaron's dining room here, and it's got a sink in there for wheelchair accessible. I go in there, close the door. One lady was trying to press up to see. She didn't get a good look, so she went to the manager. Manager says, they're a girl. I had that happen at Safeway. Same thing. Lady came out. She was waiting for me. I came out, walked over to Aaron. We had a good laugh. Problem is, the lady went to the manager. Again, nothing happened. Problem is there's a lot of discrimination, and it's not just because, oh, well, I'm transgendered. It's also because of another reason. It's because North Carolina is doing this bathroom thing, and it's a 50-50. Some people in this state say, let it happen, and run them out of the bathrooms, and others say, hey, they're going through a sex change, they're just like us, they want to be respected. They're not good. I go into the bathroom, I wear a hat, a sun hat, or a beautiful, beautiful white sun hat that's female hat. I have my head down low, I go and do my business, wash my hands. I don't sit there and socialize. I mean, it's like Princess Jewel said in her YouTube video about the Joey Salad thing. You don't go in there to socialize. You go in there to pee. However, one time I was coming out of my therapist appointment. I needed to use the bathroom. I held it a little longer because we went to the dollar store. And after the dollar store, I ran into the bathroom and I went. That was the day Aaron said, hey, I got you a pair of shoes, sweetheart, and a pair of sandals. Well, that was the day that there was 8 girls going downstairs into the therapist building, and they basically said, you remember, said, oh, yeah, I hope he's not going to our bathroom.
Yeah, and we had a friend who's very anti-men in the bathroom and doesn't want trans people in women's rooms. And I said, yeah, well, how are you going to feel if a female to male walks into the women's room because they're going to the bathroom in which they were assigned at birth, gender-wise? And she said, I don't want a man in the bathroom. I said, do you realize then that it's a double standard? You're telling people that male to females can't be in the women's room and female to males can't be in the women's room?
Yeah.
That's a problem there.
So, a lot of these girls now are saying it's medically necessary for facial feminization, but the insurance company said, oh, it's cosmetic, it's elective. Some of them are using, well, you're 35, you're 40, you're 70, sorry, we're not going to make you pass that. Well, even if. I mean, I saw one transgender woman who still looked male, who was almost 90, and she says they still give her hell. Problem is, they don't want to cover it. It's elective surgery. So when you talk to doctors like I have, by email, by phone, by snail mail, and of course, in person, they're going to tell you it's not medically necessary, Medicare won't pay, therefore, we're not going to take a chance and have you rack up a $300,000 bill so you can look more feminine. Nope, out the door you go. And, you know, a lot of people are getting discouraged and upset, but then you have the citizens of this country saying, hey, we shouldn't be paying for vagioplasties, we shouldn't be paying for breast implants, we shouldn't be paying for breast removals or uterine removals. Pay it on your own dime, save up for it. But now it's embedded because President Obama wants to help the transgendered people. But at the same time, you got these douchebags that are saying, well, when President Trump gets in, it's gone. Well, we'll see about that. Unless he knows how to dissolve the Affordable Care Act without crippling the country, we'll see. The problem is just have hope and faith in this transition, because it is not going to be easier. I've transitioned 17 years, and, you know, it's getting easier and easier for me. I was kind of more, not confident, but I got breast implants. I'm more confident. And, you know, one of the things I love, as Aaron said, is I love this shirt, so, or this swim top. So, the problem is you just need to tell them, hey, I'm female. Now, if they don't listen after this time with me, I got 4 legal teams ready to go after them, because, frankly, this is discrimination, because the lady said, in sincerity, I will fix this. They purposely did this, and they can't. Well, if you got 3 transgender people coming out in a week in Lincoln, Nebraska, and yet your therapist and your psychiatrist are trying to figure out what to do, and your psychologists, yet you're going and calling me mister, there's a damn problem even if I'm out of state. So, technically, we all need to work together. But, to do that, we need to pull our resources, and that's the thing. If one person can sit there and say, hey, this is wrong, I'm going to do a lawsuit soon because of it, they might change their tune. The other thing is if one person can break through the barrier, or 2 people, or 3 people, or 500 people, eventually, for example, FFS will be covered. I talked to a guy I know who's female to male, who said there's one female to male in the, or not female to male, male to female that got FFS, and he's been trying to crack her for 2 years, and she won't give. She had it done in the Midwest, she won't cover it. She's told him to go F off. Since then, she's at GRS, but no one knows how it is. I mean, as I told a veteran who's just like my father served Korea and Vietnam, spent 36 years in the military. I love our veterans, and, you know, they deserve it too. Now, if Medicare and Medicaid is paying and the VA says it's not medically necessary, then these legal teams got to go in there. These legal teams need to go in there and take care of it. Because if one government agency is recognizing it and other ones are recognizing, like federal level for bathrooms, then this has to be taken care of. But nowadays it's, oh, this is cosmetic, we don't want to take a chance. So I added Dr. Take a Chance, and now we have 8 or 9 doctors doing breast augmentation, so it'll get better. But right now, there's no doctors willing to do breast augmentation in my state, facial feminization, or gender-confirming surgery. Everyone's going to Oregon. So, with that said, stay tuned for other videos. I'm sorry this went too long. May God bless you in everything you do. Please add and subscribe. Leave feedback, suggestions, comments. Thank you, and have a nice day.